Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this has Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new type of episode. You see, in this episode, I'm going to be sharing my screen because I want to show you my personal top 10 notes. Now, I have to tell you, whittling down all my favorite notes to a top 10 was absolutely excruciating, but yet, indeed, for you, it had to be done. So, let me lay a few ground rules quickly here and simply say, number one, for my top 10s, once you make it into my top 10, you're in. There's no 7 is better than 10, 6 is better than 7. Too complicated. Don't like that. I like categories much more once you're in my top 10. Now, the second thing I want to mention is for my top 10 notes, favorite notes, I have so many, but here's what I did. I sat down, I quickly made a list of 10 notes that whenever I see them in a fragrance, I know that I'm probably gonna be a fan. So there are many notes like cypress, for example, tobacco that I love. I just can't say necessarily when I see them, I say, okay, well then this is most likely going to be a great fragrance or one that I will like. Do I oftentimes do? Yes. But the notes that I have included here for my top 10 are ones that whenever I see them listed, or if I can pick them out, right, if I'm just smelling the fragrance and I can tease apart that note, and if I know that it's going to be in it, I'm generally, it's a good indicator that that's going to be a quite favorable fragrance indeed for me. So that's it. That is my top 10. One thing I want to show you guys real quick before we get to sharing the screen is I'd like to say, sometimes if you don't have too much to comment on for the episodes, always remember, let me know your scent of the day. And my scent of the day is Agna, number 1, Oud. And I will be reviewing this in February. So I'm rocking that juice today. Let me know what you're wearing. Of course, I would love to know, though, what is your top 10 favorite notes list. And if you don't have one, you can just let me know what are some notes you like. And if you're feeling particularly grumpy today, who could blame you? And so let us know what notes you absolutely detest. That's fine too. I would like to know that as well. So please leave a comment down below. Without further ado, let's share screen. Let me show you the notes I like, and let's get at it, shall we? Let me just say real quick that you might occasionally hear me drink some water, and I apologize if the mic picks that up. It's only because my throat is a little dry today, so I will apologize in advance. Okay, so first and foremost, go to Fragrantica.com. So there are two sites that I enjoy going to check out fragrance. One is Fragrantica.com and the other one is basenotes.net. I'm going here today because, number one, I like this one. I feel like it has a wider range of frag heads. Basenotes.net tends to have a lot of people in the fragrance industry, a little higher brow, which is fine, but I like the wide range of opinions that I find on Fragrantica. The second thing I also like is what I'm about to show you next. So what I'm going to do now to show you my top 10 list plus 2 honorable mentions is to go to Notes. So under Notes, they have different categories, and then within each category, they have listed all the notes. So one thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about my top 10 plus my 2 honorable mentions of notes, and then I'll define them, talk about the odor profile. I'm not going to talk about any fragrances in this episode. I will do that in future episodes if I come back to this notion of talking about notes. What I really wanted to do here is focus on the note itself. So the first category is citrus smells, and I have one here, and that is Neroli. So the odor profile for Neroli is a citrusy, light, slightly bitter note with hints of orange and honey blossom, floral facets, purifying, aromatic, and green. Keep in mind what I said, which is if it makes it on this list, it's because whenever I see a note like Neroli, I know I'm probably going to like it. At the very least, it intrigues me. It makes me want to know more, makes me want to get a sample, that kind of thing. If you look at something like tonka bean, see, I love tonka bean, but I feel like I can't put it in my top 10 just because it's quite common. It doesn't necessarily make me, based on that note alone, want to check out more about the fragrance. Neroli certainly does that for me. I love, love, love Neroli. Okay, that is the only one in that group. And then the next group is fruits, vegetables, and nuts. And I also have one listing here, and that is a tie between fig and fig leaf, and they both have the same definition. So I will just read the fig definition. Fig to me is a highly underutilized note. I love fig. It's extremely intriguing to me, and I wish it were, I guess I wish it were used more, but I'm glad it's not, because that way it helps me stand out from the crowd. Okay, so the odor profile is a complex green, sweet, lactonic fragrance. That's referring to the leaves. And the fruit itself is very sweet, honeyed, floral, and gourmand. Okay, let's go on to the next category. And for the next category, we have flowers. And I do not have anything on my list in this group. The next category is white flowers, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go. I'm trying not to go too fast for you. White flowers, and that is my first honorable mention, and that one is kind of the newcomer for me. It's the note that I'm really into right now, and I have a sneaky suspicion if I were to do this episode in a year or two, it would actually crack my top 10, and that is orange blossom. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely smell, close to Neroli actually, and the odor profile is a fresh and sweet white floral note with animalic undertone. Love that one. It is the up and coming note for me. It is the rising star, etc., etc. And that is an honorable mention for now. For greens, herbs, and fougères, fougère of course is French for fern-like. I have, I think, just one again. I do, and that is a tie between juniper and juniper berries. So anytime I see juniper or juniper berries listed, I know I'm probably going to like it, or at the very least want to smell it, want to know more about it. The odor profile is it has a fresh, balsamic, aromatic fragrance with piney nuances, and I did check before recording, and juniper berries has the same definition. Okay, so moving along now to the next category, we have spices. So those of you who watch me every week, you know that I definitely have a huge soft spot for cinnamon. Love cinnamon, and when you hear the definition, you will agree with me if you didn't already. The odor profile is a sweet and warm, powdery, tenacious, spicy note. That is really the best of both worlds of cinnamon, because number one, I love the fragrance, and number two, it does superbly on my skin. Okay, so next up, and actually, you know what? Let's see. Cinnamon. No, I didn't skip. Here we go. Give me 1 second. There. So the next one is coffee. Love coffee note, and the odor profile is coffee berries are produced by the evergreen bush of the genus or genus Coffea. In perfumes, the coffee note is an intense dark roast facet that is linked to the cocoa or cocoa facet of patchouli in Borneo 1834. Lutans are famously put in good use, of course, by Amen, by Moulier, and then also L'heure de Torrent. Many of the one I love right now is Uomo, and I really appreciate that it smells a gourmand, like as if you were having a sweet dessert in a coffee shop, and then you leave the coffee shop or cafe and you just smell divine. I love coffee. So number 3 is nutmeg, another underutilized note in my estimation. Really appreciate nutmeg. And the odor profile is, it is a fruit of Myristica fragrans. It has a sweet, spicy sweet facet with earthy and pungent base notes, and is used to provide an oriental spiciness that is subtler than the usual cinnamon, clove, vanilla bouquet of orientals. Thus perfect for masculine and lighter woody fragrances. Notable example is Fahrenheit by Dior and Vetiver Sport by Guerlain. On to the next category, And we have sweets and gourmand smells. And I have one squarely in here, and then I will say what I mean in just a second. When it comes to sweets and gourmands, I guess I have a kind of a tie, and let me talk about why. In fact, does it even have chocolate? It does not. Okay, so let me show you dark chocolate. And I kind of have like a four-way tie. I know they're different, okay? So in the spices category was cacao or cacao pods. And of course, that makes you use those to make dark chocolate, and then, of course, later on, milk chocolate. So I guess those four alone, those four categories would be tied for me. And I'm going to talk about dark chocolate, but really it would be dark chocolate, chocolate, milk chocolate, cacao pods, anything related to chocolate as a note, and I'm going to like it. And that's really as nuanced as I get when it comes to chocolate. The odor profile is a deep and rich gourmand note, rather bitter than sweet. I find that for me, dark chocolate mixed with coffee, sprinkled in with some sort of woods, just incredibly sexy. And I really think that that's a great combination for the nighttime evening fragrances for guys. Okay, so next category is woods and mosses, and I have 3. Now notice here, the first one is oud, but notice it's actually listed under Agarwood. And some companies refer to it as oud, some as Agarwood. I'm not sure necessarily why. Sometimes I wonder if it's because maybe they're trying to avoid the word oud, just simply because it's usually in conversations about whether or not we should be using natural resources. But the definition, because I looked earlier, we have good news here, because the odor profile says a pathological secretion of the Aquilaria tree, a rich, musty, woody, nutty scent that is highly prized in the Middle East. In commercial perfumery, it's safe to say all quote-unquote oud is a recreated synthetic note, which I actually find nice to hear. Either way, whether it's Agarwood or oud, synthetic or not, I love it. All right, next up on the list is also in the same category, and that is down under G, and it is none other than Guaiac Wood. Okay, so the odor profile says depends on the specific material. The scent varies from sweet, balsamic, vanilla-like to woody, smoky, leathery, and tar-like. I tend to gravitate towards the woody, smoky, leathery, tar-like aspect of Guaiac Wood. But either way, anytime I see Guaiac Wood, I know that it's something I need to sample. Again, Guaiac Wood would probably be, if I had to list a top 3 besides cinnamon, Guaiac Wood would be on that list. Last but not least, you know that if you're ever tired of smelling like a little too tar-like or very strong incensey, smoky wood, you should definitely check out my third in this category, another favorite of mine, which is Teakwood. The odor profile says a fantasy blonde woody note, and see what I mean? It's very fragrant, and it tends to offset some of the smokier woods, and I really appreciate Teakwood, so it has to be on my list. For resins and balsams, I do not have anything listed. Now for beverages, I think final category, I do have one, and it's in my honorable mention. It's my second honorable mention, and that is rum. So the odor profile says a complex, sweet, and aromatic chord that brings on succulence and molasses-tinged nuances to gourmands and woody fragrances. And I love the combination, especially with the woody fragrances, because I feel like it sweetens it up a little bit. So the smoky, sweet element that rum would bring to something like Guaiac Wood is just divine. And it makes my honorable mention. It is quite a common note. So again, I don't know if it can crack my top 10, but whenever I see rum, I know that I'm probably going to get good news, and it's going to be something that I like. All right, so there you have it. I think that is the last category. There, it just skipped. Sorry about that. And then we end with natural and synthetic, popular and weird. I don't have anything on this list, though I will say I can't say it's an honorable mention, but I will say I have had two fragrances that have down here listed vinyl, and I really like that one. So if I were to do this list in 2 to 3 years, this one could easily be an honorable mention for me. I don't think it would crack my top 10, but I really do like the two vinyl fragrances that I have smelled. I will check out later on a tennis ball. I'm a tennis fan. Who knew that there were tennis ball as a note? So I will go back to that in my own free time. I won't keep you. And then uncategorized. All right, so there we go. So here are my two honorable mentions are orange blossom and rum. The spices were cinnamon, coffee, nutmeg. The green herbs and fougères was juniper tied with juniper berries. The citrus smell was neroli. The white flower, honorable mention, of course, was orange blossom. I mentioned that. The woods was guaiac wood, oud or agarwood, and teakwood. Fruit was fig, and then at the end I had the sweets and gourmand, which was dark chocolate, kind of mixed with the spice of cacao. So you want to say cacao pod, cacao, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, chocolate, anything to do with chocolate, and I'm probably going to check it out. All right, so there you have it, folks. That is my top 10 list. Now, what I'd like to do real quick is go up here, and I want to show you something real quick with regard to what to do once you have notes picked out. So let's say you have listened to this episode and you realized, hey, I want to check out this too, and you find 2 or 3 notes that you really like. Check this out. Go to perfumes, and then under search by notes, I love to do this, by the way. And let's say, for example, let's take something from my list. So let's say you were looking for something that has cinnamon. And let's say you wanted something that has also guaiac wood in it. There we go. And you know what? Just because you guys know, let's say I'm not feeling the barbershop element today, and I don't want lavender. Let's just say I want to exclude one. Okay, so I want cinnamon, I want guaiac, and I want to exclude lavender. And let's say that I want something quote-unquote traditionally masculine. You guys know that most niche companies only do unisex fragrances because they feel like fragrance transcends gender, and I fully understand that. I like that notion. But let's just say, to test it out, that you really wanted something traditionally masculine or marketed towards men. Then you would exclude female, and you would exclude the unisex, which is shared here, and you would only have male. Once you get to that category, you see that you're going to oftentimes end up with about 30 or fewer, and you can just keep whittling it down until you finally get none. And that's it for this category. But you guys, let me show you one. So this is Polo Supreme Oud, been discontinued. It's a shame, because if I could get my hands on this one, I absolutely would. I love this one. And you can see it has cinnamon, and then there's the oud. It also has guaiac wood, of course, that we mentioned earlier up at top, and vetiver, and so on. And it does not have lavender. So it does have cinnamon and guaiac wood, which we were looking for, and it does not have lavender. So you can just do this all day long. Let's do one more, and let's say you wanted to add, I'm just looking at my list here. I'm just curious here. You know, I tell you what, I was reading earlier about the similarities between neroli and orange blossom. So why don't we do neroli and orange blossom? And here's what I want to do. Let's say I'm curious about either I don't mind if they're unisex, or I really want to include the niche companies. Let me go ahead and turn on shared. And so I've got any fragrance that says for man, and then or unisex, and then you can see here over here, see how small that is? That means there are just tons and tons and tons. And so that's what I'm saying, is you can just go all day long until, right, and you just go through these fragrances, and they're going to have a combination that you like. Every once in a while we'll put something in that's real specific and to the point that it has none. So let me try, how many neroli, What do you think? How about Neroli and coffee? Fragrances are there? So I'm going to turn on this one as well. And you can see here, there are actually a fair amount of fragrances for two notes that I wouldn't necessarily associate with each other. And that's cool. And so you can really get to know new fragrances and take a look at this. Since we're here, how about try Neroli, coffee, and fig. How's that? Let's put one that's like really sick. And it says, look, wow, you searched for a great combination of perfume notes, but it seems nobody has made a perfume like that yet. So you see what I mean? You can just keep going until you whittle it down. Maybe even do, how about fig and coffee? Not too many there either. We have 4, 8, 12. 12 fragrances in the industry have combined those two. And then, of course, you can just put on some good music and check out these fragrances in your free time. And so this is a unisex. I'm just checking this one out. And you can take a look at everything, right? You got the note breakdown. You got the seasons. People love it or like it. You've got the note listed again here. The screen's sticking just a little bit. Sorry about that. Look at all the notes here. I mean, this might be something that somebody would like and of interest. And then it also shows you, here, this is, wow, eternal, longevity, sillage, and gender, price, value, and then it lists what ones it reminds people of. So this fragrance, reminds people of these fragrances. That's a very high number, so it's probably quite similar to that one indeed, but you can check that out. I just wanted to throw that out for you, and that is searching by notes, and then also, search by notes, and then the actual notes themselves. So there you have it. That's my list of top 10 notes, my favorite notes, plus 2 honorable mentions. And then also we did the search by notes, which is incredibly fun to do. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you appreciated this episode, slightly different nuance and take on it. And always remember, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Nor do I for musk, amber, and alumalic scents, although I will take note here. When I was going through this, I did happen to check out goat hair. So who knew that, fragrances, in fact, you know what? Let's just real quick, just out of curiosity. There's not just one. Okay, there's actually a fair amount of fragrances that have goat hair as a note. That is new to me. I did not know that.